Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jake the Metalhead, and today I am covering the new album by Body Count called Carnivore. So, a little bit of background with me in this band. Back their 2017 release, Bloodlust, I was like pretty much all over it with the songs and stuff, and I really enjoyed their last album, Bloodlust. And I was listening to a couple of songs off of it a little while back, and I figured check in on these guys. And apparently they released this whole album and it went completely under the radar for me. So I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that they released it. And then I went and listened to it, and yeah, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on it. So without further ado, let's get into the first song, which is the title track, Carnivore. This song is slow but brutal the whole way through. The verses are their lead vocalist slash rapping vocalist Ice-T rapping over a steady beat and a pretty heavy riff. The chorus contains a really heavy rhythm guitar with a pretty eerie lead guitar in the background. The bridge is a very shreddy guitar solo over some excellent double bass work on the drums and a great breakdown style beat the whole way through. And yeah, overall, I'd say this is a very strong opening track, and this, I believe, was one of. I know it's one of the singles. I'm not sure if it was the lead single or not, but still, great choice on this being a single. Next is "Point the Finger" featuring Riley Gale of Power Trip. Power Trip being a more like a bit of a more of like a crossover thrash and a bit of more of like a little bit of an old school hardcore act, an old school hardcore, old school metalcore act, I believe. So it starts off with a drum build up into the first verse. The verses are a more like a fast like somewhat upbeat style rhythm to them. And then the pre-chorus gets more into a thrashier style as Riley Gale comes in with his scream vocals. And then the chorus slows things down to a nice to a nice steady beat down style tempo. And then the bridge starts with a little spoken word from Ice-T, and then goes straight into the breakdown, which I really enjoyed. And yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the song. Um, and then we get into one of the other singles, Bum Rush. It gets straight into a nice upbeat rhythm with a pretty cool guitar riff. The verses are Ice-T rapping with a bit of a faster flow. The main hook keeps the same tempo with a change in the guitar riff and a nice, really cool, brutal drum groove. There's a cool guitar solo as a transition from the hook into the second verse. And the bridge slows things down tempo wise, but keeps the brutality up with a pretty cool body count chant. And yeah, I really dig this song as well. And then we have a cover of Ace of Spades, in which it starts off with Ice-T explaining the reasoning for the cover, in which like they like shouting out like some of their influences on each album. They did that on their 2014 release Manslaughter with Institutionalized by Suicidal Tendencies. And they did that on Bloodlust with their cover of Raining Blood and Post Mortem by Slayer. In which I really dig the institutionalized cover, and the Slayer cover instrumentally is pretty much perfect. Um, but but the delivery of the vocals on there aren't really like the best. They're a little like they're a little iffy, but this is absolutely one of the better covers of Ace of Spades that I've heard. This cover is pretty much spot on. And yeah, I really enjoyed this cover. A nice modernization of this song. And then we get to another level featuring Jamie Josta of Hatebreed. It starts with a soft Slayer style guitar intro, which is a nice a softer guitar melody with sort of like a Slayer clean tone. Um, and then it goes into a slow beatdown groove. The verses is only the bass, drums, and Ice-T rapping. The chorus goes back to the same groove as the intro with a nice vocal melody to it, and Jamie Jost is only really, from what I can tell, really present on the chorus. You can hear him screaming in the background, and then the bridge is a nice smooth guitar solo. And yeah, overall, this is a pretty good song. I wish Jamie Josta would have been a little more present on this song, and I wish this would have been like a faster song since that would fit in more with Jamie Josta's style. And then we get to Colors 2020, and this is a redo of one of Ice-T's solo songs. One of the songs that I believe he put out before he started doing Body Count, in which they, in which Body Count got together in 1991, and Ice-T, I believe, was mainly present, mainly in the 80s. I believe it was more like in late 80s, I believe. And then and it starts with a nice bass riff that goes into a nice swing, into a nice like swing beat. Um, and yeah, I really dig the overall like tempo and beat of the song. The verses have a nice rap flow to them, and the riff is pretty simple but still pretty cool. The chorus is pretty simple lyrically, but still pretty catchy and whatnot. And yeah, so overall like a nice a nice little chorus slash hook. Um, and then it ends with a guitar solo, and the tempo starts consistently speeding up, and then finishes off with a bang. And I really like this part that they added on into the song. And yeah, I really dig the song. No Remorse. The next song starts off with a brutal guitar riff over a steady beat, which leads into the first verse. The hook is simple at first, and then the second time and every other time it's played, it gets a little more complex lyrically. And the bridge switches between three different grooves, keeping the same tempo, and I really enjoyed that. And and yeah, I feel this is a pretty good song as well, pretty good effort. Um, And then we get to When I'm Gone, featuring Amy Lee of Evanescence. And this is definitely like on paper it seems like really like a little out of like not really like out of place, because like Evanescence is more like along the lines of like new metal or hard rock. But but it's actually executed pretty well. So the song starts with Ice-T talking about uh, how how a rapper who was murdered recently named Nipsey Hussle was the inspiration for the song, and the song talks about loving the people that you care about while they're still alive instead of like waiting until they're gone. And then the song itself starts with some spoken word with a nice soft guitar riff playing over it. Then breaks into what ends up being the pre-chorus, which is brutal instrumentally and vocally. The chorus blends Amy Lee's vocals with Ice-T's very well. The bridge is a nice tom drum groove with Amy Lee singing pretty much as pretty much with her awesome voice, and saying like pretty much how she always does, just bringing an awesome aspect into this song. And yeah, overall, I really dig this song. Um, then we get to the critical beatdown, which starts with an awesome guitar riff, which builds into the first verse, which is a nice steady groove over a brutal riff, and then the pre-chorus speeds things up, and the hook slows things back down tempo wise, but still keeps things pretty brutal. The bridge starts with a build up between two people getting ready to fight, which then goes into the breakdown, which oddly also has fighting sounds over top of it, like the sounds of like obviously like it's fake sound effects, but it's like people like getting punched and kicked and crap. And yeah, overall, like the song itself is pretty good, and I thought I thought the fighting sound effects in the breakdown was a tad much, but still, the breakdown itself instrumentally is really good. And then the hate is real starts with a couple of news clips over a nice build up into the main hook. And the song and this and the hook stays slow but brutal. Um, the first verse has primarily a thrash beat in the beginning, which then builds into a nice headbanging beat, a nice upbeat and steady beat. Which is the only beat ends up being the only beat present in the second verse. The bridge goes into a thrash metal guitar solo and then ends off with some spoken word work from Ice-T to end off the album. And so that's all there is to the album. And now for my overall take from it. I really dig this album. I would say, based off of the stuff that I've heard, which I've heard a little bit of Body Count's first album. I've heard some songs here and there, and then I also heard their 2017 album Bloodlust. Um, Overall, I feel like this is probably like this is definitely their best album production wise. Like everything sounds clean, everything it, all the riffs are really nice, whether they're slow, whether they're like softer or on the heavier side. I really dig the drumming on this album. I even dig some of the bass work on this album. Some of the bass work on this album, at least the stuff that you can like hear and that is um, actually present. Um, I feel the lyrics are very well written. The only real downside to that could like possibly like turn you off from this album is like a good amount of the songs are politically charged. And I may not really be like that big into politics anymore. I still felt the lyrics were very well written, and I really dig Ice-T's delivery overall on the album. Um, the only real problem that I have with the album is with that's the song "The Critical Breakdown" with the fighting sound effects over the with the fighting sound effects over the breakdown. I felt like that was just a little much, but other than that, I have zero issues with this album in terms of lyrical content. The guest performances, well, aside from Jamie Josta's, which again I wish he was a little more present on what song was that? On another level. I wish he was a little more present, and I wish the song was done a little differently. Like I wish that was a faster song and more akin to Hatebreed style. So this way, like this would be like, so this way it would be like the perfect song for Jamie Josta to come in. Um, but yeah, other than the critical breakdown or the critical beatdown breakdown and another level another level. I have zero issues with this album other than those two things. So with that being said, I'm giving this album a 9 out of 10. And that's it for me, guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more album and drum covers, for more album reviews and drum covers coming soon. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.